Welcome to the land down under. I'm here in Sydney, Australia, a place that I have been dreaming of going to ever since I saw Mary-Kate and Ashley's movie, Our Lips Are Sealed. I had that VHS tape as a kid, and I've been wanting to come to Sydney, Australia ever since. Hey, you can even see Luna Park, the carnival over there where they had that double date with those two cute Aussies. Anyway, I'm here for the first time. Took forever to get here to Australia, but we made it. We did it for the astrocartography material and knowledge because I'm here on my Sun MC line. Everything you could think about with Sun MC, I feel it here. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. And I'm gonna break it all down for you in today's astrocartography vlog. If you've ever wanted to go to the Sun MC line, now you know what it's like. Now, before we get into today's video, I'm here at the Sydney Harbor. Beautiful view with these cute little yellow tugboats just going back and forth over here. And I have a lot that I want to share with you in today's video, as well as on my podcast, Cosmic Compass. If you haven't tuned into my astrocartography podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, be sure to subscribe down below in the description. And also, before we get started, be sure to download my free astrocartography cheat sheet, where you can learn what all the different planetary lines mean on your map for free. I got you covered. Just check out that link down below and I'll send it to your email inbox. All right, let's get on with today's video. I have a lot to share with you. Being here in Sydney feels like home. I love it here so much. It reminds me a little bit of San Diego, just like the palm trees, the big, huge tree trunks. I used to spend my days as a little kid climbing the trees in Balboa Park in San Diego. And seeing these trees here in Sydney just remind me so much of climbing those trees when I was a kid. All the birds, the plant life, the lush plant life. The feeling is quite similar to how I feel when I'm in Dubai. I always love coming to the Sunline. I have a Sunline in Iceland, I have a Sunline in Dubai, and I have a Sunline here in Sydney. Every time I go to a Sunline, I feel so good. I feel so happy, so overjoyed. But the thing is the logistics, right? Like, I prefer lush plant life and lots of greenery and quiet and space and an abundance of nature and wildlife over skyscrapers and sterile buildings and fancy yachts. You know, that's more Dubai. And so, you know, when trying to decide where you want to live, it's like, first narrow it down to what you want to feel. But then it's like, okay, let's say you've picked a sun line, you want to go to a sun astrocartography line. What are the logistics, the practicalities? Do you want to live in a place like Dubai, or do you want to live in a place like Sydney, or do you want to live in a place like Iceland, right? 3 completely different places in the world. And something that people forget to ask themselves is, what kind of weather, climate, geography, you know, what kind of plant life do you like? Those are all important things, at least they are to me. And so, yeah, I'm just walking around Sydney. We're here at the Botanic Gardens, the Royal Botanic Garden. It's free to walk in. We've just been roaming around, exploring, and just taking it in. I feel so at peace here. Let's continue on with the vlog. Now, here's a basic astrology and astrocartography misconception that we have to get out of the way right now. You have to look at the aspects to your natal planets to understand the full story and picture of what these lines on your map mean. This is where we have to go deeper into your birth chart. I'll give you an example. I'm here on my Sun MC line, right? But my sun is exactly opposite Pluto and squaring my moon. And every time I go to a sun line, I've been to one in Iceland, I've been to one in Dubai multiple times, and now here in Australia, and I can tell you, the sun line for me always has this obsessive, intense fears coming up to the surface for me to explore them, psychology, analysis, and also realizing things about my past and my upbringing, and it's just very intense for me psychologically every time I go to a sunline. And so I say this right now at the beginning of this vlog because it's very important that you look to your natal Mercury or Sun or Venus or whatever planetary line you want to go to on the map. You gotta understand the story of your natal sun. What is your natal sun story? Because a sun opposite Pluto might be very obsessive in power dynamics and control and fear coming up to the surface when you're on that line, but that sun square Saturn, it's more about responsibility and duty and obligation growing
growing up fast, a lot of work. So this is why we always have to go back to the main point, which I talk about in all my content. You've got to look to the natal planet in your chart. Now, here I am at Sydney Opera House, and I don't know if you can see, but the tile on this roof here, I gotta show you a close-up shot because I never knew that there was tile on the Sydney Opera House, but there is. Let's take a look at it. Let's go a little bit closer. Come on. This hotel is completely free because I have free night stays, not just points. Like just recently, Alex and I had a free night stay in Paris at a really beautiful hotel in the beautiful part of city center. And like, it was free. It was free because I used my points. And this hotel here in Sydney, Australia, we are staying for free because I have like free night stays every year. And so I have to use them or they'll expire. And so the amazing thing about your credit cards is you can utilize your credit card points, which by the way, I just, I pay my team, I pay my taxes, I pay my bills on my credit cards, and I make sure I set it to pay in auto pay in full every month. So my credit is extremely good credit score. But I'm getting all these extra perks of all these different things. Free flights, free business class upgrades, which that business class that we just took to Australia, free because I utilized my points. And my points I got for free because all I did was spend my monthly bills, taxes on my credit card. And I teach exactly how to do this at the Anywhere Office course. I've been doing travel hacking, which is what I'm talking about, credit card hacking. I've been doing this since I was 19 years old. Literally 2013 was when I started doing this. And so I have years and years worth of practice and habit building and like basically beating the system, beating the banks so that I get all these free experiences and free things in my life for just paying my bills in full each month. It's kind of amazing. And I have no credit card debt either. If you're someone who overspends or you can't pay, your bills, or if you get a credit card and you can't pay it in full, I wouldn't advise doing this. But if you, are strategic about your spending, like credit card hacking is seriously one of the best things ever. Officially deciding to call the Sunline in astrocartography the self-improvement line. And this doesn't have that Saturnian element that Saturn brings. Every time I go to a Saturn line, I live on one in Paris, or a Saturn Perrin, there's always this element of like habit building and discipline and structure and focusing on maturity and the seriousness of time ticking and how, I gotta get as much done in a certain amount of time, right? That's not really the energy that I feel on a sun line. There's a difference between Sun and Saturn when it comes to self-improvement. The sun is about mindset, behavior, how you approach your life and yourself and your goals and what you want to achieve and accomplish. But it comes from this more lighter energy than Saturn does. It has this energy of creativity and self-expression. And I've decided to call the sun line the self-improvement line because I've just noticed in my own life and travels, I travel like all the time, and I've been to a lot of sun lines. It always brings up self-improvement for me, and not discipline self-improvement, but more like, what do you want to do with your life in terms of creativity and how you want to express yourself? And I always find that when I go to sun lines, I get a lot of clarity, a lot of clear answers. I think if you're really struggling with having clarity in your life, going to a sun ascendant line is your best bet. And also the MC line, if you want some clarity with your career or your purpose or your overall life direction, I find that the sun MC line is also really good for that. The other thing that you should know about sun lines on your astrocartography map, these are places where you might find that you become a little self-focused, self-obsessed. Be careful of that ego, right? These are some of the not so great parts about the sun in astrology, or when you go to a sun line on your astrocartography map in the world, right? There is a tendency towards self-obsession and self-focus, and it's not really pretty. And so one of the downsides about being on your sun line is that there is a tendency to self-focus or be a little obsessed with your predicament or whatever's going on in your life. And I don't know, I don't really like that ego energy on the sun line. I really don't. I've chosen to live on my Saturn ascendant line and my Venus line. I got this nice balance where I live in France. And also the Saturn energy that I feel back home in France is service, work, create something that's meaningful, important, timeless, that's bigger than you. It's about service. It's not about ego. The sun line, I don't know if I'd want to live on this line all year. Definitely not. I like it for trips. I like it for learning something new about myself or my blocks, or maybe or maybe even like mindset blocks or fears I have, and kind of getting to the root of it. Again, that exact opposition to Pluto, right? But it's not necessarily my favorite place to call home in the world. This is why you got to get really clear on like, what do you want? What do you value? What's important to you, right? For me, I like sun for visiting. Wouldn't want to live on one for my entire year, right? Now this video is all about the sun MC because I'm here on the midheaven line. The MC stands for the midheaven, which is the highest visible point in your birth chart. And this often has to deal with reputation, public image, career, accomplishments, and how you're visibly seen before the people and the public. This also has to do with your higher aspirations and your goals in your life. Goals that are less personal, and it's more about the overview of what you're known for in your work or your career objectives. Purpose is a big key word that goes with the midheaven. Now, I'm a big believer that not everyone's purpose is career. Not everyone's purpose is meant to be focused on career or work. We all have different purposes in our natal promise in our lives. However, when the sun's on the midheaven, this is a place of being recognized, being seen, and getting exposure. And it's really interesting because I went to sleep the first night that I was here in Sydney. I went to sleep, woke up the next morning with jet lag, right? That first night's sleep, I had all these dreams, vivid dreams of my scripts for future videos, podcast outro scripts. Literally, I was told in my dreams what I needed to make videos on, or what are some things I need to say online. I thought that was so interesting that I had all these dreams the first night that I got here. And the second thing is later on when I woke up, later on in the day, I pulled open my email and I got an email from the Times wanting to interview me and feature me for an upcoming piece about astrocartography. And a lot of cockatoos over here in this park, in the Royal Botanical Garden here in Sydney. And it's interesting how every time I go to MC lines, if you've been following my vlogs over the last couple of years here on this YouTube channel, you know that every time I either go to a Jupiter line or an MC line specifically, there's always some sort of good news or opportunity or work accomplishment or some sort of opportunity to advance in my career and get some sort of exposure for the work that I'm doing. And it's interesting how I literally was here one night and I haven't heard from any journalists or anything for months. It's been so long since anyone's wanted to feature me in a piece, and I'm here one night and I wake up to a message from the Times and a journalist that found me. So very interesting. Publicity, such a big key word when we're talking about Sun MC. The Sun MC is big on publicity, public image, being recognized, journalists reaching out, so Sun MC. So very, very interesting. Let's keep going. Do you want to give a little bit of some advanced or intermediate advice to any of you who are into astrocartography or astrology? I was born during that 2-week eclipse season. My south node is conjunct my sun in my birth chart. And so while I do have the Sun MC line here, so with my south node conjunct my sun, there's just a lot less volume up or excess or exaggeration or increase on my career. The lunar nodes are really key, and so I'm actually a lot more focused on my inner journey and my inner world when I'm here, with the north node, Pluto and Jupiter on my IC down in the 4th house in the relocation chart. I'll go more in depth on the lunar nodes in an upcoming podcast episode over on Cosmic Compass. So if you're not subscribed to my podcast yet, definitely subscribe now down below so you don't miss that episode. I'm gonna go a lot more in depth on my experience being here in Australia for 3 weeks with the south node on my midheaven and the north node on my IC. Also, while Uranus is transiting over that node and that sun, because I'm here for a reason. I'm not just here to experience the Sun MC line. I'm here to experience my Uranus transit going over the south node and the sun on the midheaven here in Australia. There's a reason I timed to be here at the right time, right place. And so I'm gonna go much more in depth and share a vulnerable, long episode on that on the podcast. So definitely tune in then. But as of now, The Sun MC line, I highly recommend exploring it at some point in your life. Even if you have to cruise to this line, I recommend seeing it. Until next time, I'll see you in the next vlog here on Helena Wood's Astrology. Yes, I changed the name recently. New energy after this eclipse season ends, and I'm really excited for the future of this channel and all the places I'm excited to take you. I'll see you next time, and happy astro travels.